Hello, my name is Mars, and welcome back to Season A Letter to the Future. When we last left Estelle, she had been riding and voyaging alone for a very long time and was starting to feel a sadness like she had never experienced before. I guess that's what happens when you're alone for so long. Now, my guess is that I'm going to want to bike that way, towards that structure over there. But I also see something right here in our immediate vicinity that we should take a look at. And I also feel like we should take a picture of these windmills. Oh, look at that. I love that you can see the rain.
The blades turn, but I bet they don't generate any power. Probably just swirling the air around.
Old remnants. Hold on. I'll take that with me. I'll leave it right by this gate. And I'll open up my journal and see what is waiting for me here. The path took me out into the open for the first time, into a world that goes and goes. Ooh, there's a drawing of herself. Weeks passed and I came to know loneliness for the first time. Well, that's a beautiful sketch. We should definitely put that down. And now, what's over here? We can't hop this gate, can we? Or read what that says? No. Yeah. I don't know. Is there a way around this? A break in the gate? Perhaps? Aha. Here we go. I thought I might change the season by changing the landscape. Cut these down like trees. But that's not how a season changes.
This person wanted the season to change. Why?
Oh my goodness, were you trying to use a saw to cut down a huge metal pillar? What would make you try that? What do these pillars represent that makes you hate them so much? You should probably take a picture of that, right? Hold on. Walk it back a little bit. Get the... Ooh, raindrops falling on the camera lens. I love it. Let's get the saw in frame. Alright. Let's get rid of this one. Yeah. I like this. Man, I wish we could use the scroll wheel on the mouse to scale instead of having to use A and W and S. See, it's so unintuitive. No, I wanted to put the quote down. Because it's a good quote. Alright, I don't think there's anything else here. Ooh, a little path. Where does this lead? Just out around the rock structure. Ooh, and there's another little hole in this gate. I think I took the hard way in there. Probably could have brought our bike through there as well. Let's go. Let's go get it ourselves. I'll probably only use the retrieve bike function if I really, really need to. Alright. Oh, is there an animal? Animal? No, it's just a tree. I I thought we could pet another goat. That's been the best part of this game so far, was petting a goat. What are these bridges? They look like Roman aqueducts to me. Actually. No, that's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to deposit my bike. They're so grand, I should probably take pictures, right? I probably should have done that a while back, actually. Ah, no.
This structure dominates the landscape but wasn't made for it. It's for passing through, for moving elsewhere.
A liminal space, right? Alright, I might be stuck again. Hold on. I need to unstuck. You know, someone less charitable might say, oh, the fact that they felt that they needed to include an unstuck button says that they, you know, they knew that getting stuck was a problem, but instead of fixing it, they just slapped an easy fix on there. But I like it. I mean, there's a lot of freedom of movement in this game, and sometimes freedom of movement comes with a price. And they've tackled that price in a admirable way, I think. Hold on. No. I wanted to... Hold on. Okay, there we go. Let's put down the pictures of the big structure and of the windmills. Probably put the windmills over here because I have like a big grass plain.
Time seems to pass differently around here. I feel so heavy and so light at the same time. I'm not really alone. I'm with myself. I'm with the earth.
Alright, there are some fixes that need to happen before I can add the stamps and whatnot. Alright, I'm going to move this down. Why would it overlap the picture? I don't know. What's my conclusion? I'm not really alone. I'm with myself. I'm with the earth. We should definitely put some rain everywhere to indicate that there is rain everywhere. No, I keep pressing tab when I want to press shift. No. Rain, rain. Just put it everywhere to indicate just how rainy this is. And which quote should I put down? I'm not really alone next to this portrait of myself. I like that page. Alright. Where's my bike? I left it over here. Yes? Yes. Not too much to explore in this environment. No. I need to get my mind around these controls. Excuse me. Entering the camera screen lets go of the bike. Oop. Something else here. Every line is dead, every wire is cut. I hate this season.
They wanted the season to change because they were so alone.
Phone lines. I should take a picture. Come on. Come on, mouse. And if that's a new quote, okay, maybe it's not a new quote. Maybe we need to take a picture of this. Okay. Someone was out here alone. I'm gonna get rid of this. And no. And add someone was out here alone. To contrast with me not really being alone, but being with myself. Is there anything interesting I can... No. Get on the bike. Get on the bike. Is there anything interesting to see out here? No, just rocks. Nothing over there. Doesn't look like. Just long forgotten highways. Ooh, a puddle. A gate? No. Hold on. No. I mean, opening up the camera is a good way to get on and off the bike and let go of it. What's this? A music box? Nothing's written on it.
One melody is like me out here alone. I can't really live like this.
Gotta record it.
I have a feeling they use these music boxes to fall asleep.
One voice, one tune, alone in the wilderness, can't last long. Two voices, a melody and a harmony, is enough to survive a little while. Three voices, a community, a song, can last a whole season.
They kept themselves company with music.
Another music box. No, we already wound up a music box. I don't want to populate the area with too much noise. Why are there so many of them? That one stopped. Okay, they all played the same song.
Is like me and my mom.
Oh.
You can survive, but eventually you need more.
I see. It's gonna sound awful.
Three voices as complex as life is supposed to be. I could listen forever.
It sounds awful, but it's a community. I getcha. Let's see. So we have the music box. Hold on. Let's move this here. Someone was alone out here. They kept themselves company with music. Nice. And maybe we should put the recording of the music box over here. Make it smaller, it's just noise. Nice. Make it seem a little less lonely. If our point there is that we're not alone. Oh, here's our way past the gate, I guess? Yeah? No, unless this is back the way we came from. Yeah, okay. So now do we want to go this way? No. How do we get out of here? Aha. I see. A signpost over here. What does it say? I met a driver from a group that's building a community. I'm leaving with him. Goodbye to this lonesome place. Goodbye to this lonesome season.
Looks like they made it out of here. But what is this group?
Ooh. Story. Just for posterity, let's take a picture of this. We don't have to use it. Sometimes I feel like I start out these chapters with like a vision for my journal, and then more stuff gets, and then I have to add the stuff to like unlock the inspiration, and then something happens in the rest of the level that like changes the narrative of the whole thing, and I have to rework my journal to mesh with that. I don't know, maybe that's a me problem. Maybe I should just be waiting until the end of the level to actually fit my journal together. Tieng Valley, exit 45. Aha. On our way to Tieng Valley, I guess?
In the empty places, I found companionship in the tapes I recorded before leaving home. The Elder told me the story of her life. I listened back to it, ready to note down anything that seemed important.
Hmm. What's gonna be the next chapter? Are we going to Tieng?
Let's set the
What's it
scene for
called?
the listener,
No, we're talking to the Elder.
whoever that might be. This is the elder speaking. We're sitting in the plaza, saying goodbye to a dear soul. We're here to see if there's anything useful in my mind that could help you on your trip. A century's worth of memories, dreams, fantasies, visions. Like a big, old, haunted library.
So you're a century old. Oh my goodness.
When I die, this library will burn down.
Hmm. That's a sad way to think about it.
But which book should we check out first? I don't have all the answers, but I do feel the story of my life could help you understand what kind of world is out there.
Any advice for my trip?
It's okay not to understand everything right away. The moment may pass before you've gotten a firm hold on it. But as long as you're there to witness it, to take it down in your journal, you and others to come will someday take the time to make sense of it all.
Okay. I can take that as a as a piece of advice for the problem I just complained about. It doesn't matter if you don't understand everything fully right away as long as you jot it down. Jot down your current perception of it because that's what matters, documenting what is current for those in the future. What's your real name? Feels real invasive. Maybe she won't want to tell us, but we'll ask.
Francis Cale, if you must know.
Francis Cale.
You can call me Frank. Or Elder. Or the Elder. Or Elder Frank. You know, whatever. I don't care.
Where were you born?
I was born on the ocean. My mother and father worked on a cruise ship. The short-lived but glorious watery republics. Floating cities. Most won their independence by the time I was born. How can I describe them? They were a jewel of the golden season. Pleasure boats with a radical political program. How nice. The golden age was a time of flags, logos, mottos, mastheads.
How nice.
My mom taught me to read them. She was the ship's philosopher. My dad was a recycling engineer. Recycling on the ship was a matter of life and death. We had to get the most out of every object and watt of energy.
Your mom or your dad? I'm guessing we only get to choose one of these. I mean, if the mom was the philosopher, which seems like a very important aspect of the golden season, was different philosophies colliding and creating discourse. Um, I'm curious about the mom.
These symbols and gestures were layered with meaning. There are signals in the way you might move your hands or close your eyes. Her job was to manage the symbols and their meanings. She designed the ship's flag, for example. Let me draw it for you.
Hmm.
After the war, people were disgusted with groups and symbols. Keep an eye out on your trip. I bet you won't see a signal flag flying. Her name was Augusta Kale.
What was it like growing up there?
I loved the way the ship would tilt and roll with the waves, especially as I fell asleep. It was so comforting. Picture me as a kid in bed, feeling the swaying of the ship. It was like being rocked to sleep as a baby. I loved exploring the ship too, wandering through the suites, the swimming pool, the game rooms, and oh, there were two dance halls, a large, elegant one and another one in the basement. A lot of my firsts were down there, my first dance, my first kiss, and so forth.
When did you leave the ship? I can't imagine living on a cruise ship. That sounds awful.
Our ship was taken over in the early days of the war. That was the end of the watery republics. I heard the dance hall in the basement became a weapons cache.
Hmm.
Took me half my life to say goodbye to the world I knew in my youth. Imagine me and my parents and everyone I knew being escorted off the ship by a company of soldiers. And I'm thinking, I hope they don't make a mess of my room. I was embarrassed by the younger kids who were crying their eyes out, but they knew, I guess.
Um, what did you think was happening? Was that the end of the season? I feel like we know that. Seasons come much faster than I thought. I mean, I know this woman is old, but like 100 years, I would assume that a season could last a few centuries at least. So seasons come and go fast, and they always bring destruction, it seems. But I'm curious what she thought was happening.
Even as things got bad, I couldn't imagine that changes were permanent. It's easy now to look back and say the internationalism of the golden season was violently breaking down. You can be naive about all kinds of things, but not war. Most of my life has been spent in isolated communities, and the one moment I was in the wild world, you couldn't pick a more chaotic time. And we had been warned this season was going to end. Oh, but we didn't understand the warning. You see, one night, along a coastline, we saw beautiful lights shimmering above the water. Later, we found out this was an ancient warning system. It hadn't been used in so long. We didn't know what it meant. We just thought, well, ain't that pretty? We tried to stick together and camped out on the coast of the prismatic grounds.
Um, the prismatic grounds, how did you feel? What did your parents think? Hmm. So should we focus more on her or the lore or the people around her? Huh. I mean, of course I'm interested in the lore of it all because there's a lot about the world of this game that I still find a little bit difficult to wrap my head around, hard to understand. But I feel like the most important thing is documenting the people, right? So her parents or her? We already asked what she was thinking. Let's ask what her parents were thinking.
She saw the meaning of things shifting. It disturbed her greatly. He saw war as a process of turning life, resources, energy, the potential energy in every human soul into waste,
Hmm.
turning human eyes and hands that could paint a landscape into a field of ashes. Are you sure you want me to keep going? The story gets darker from here on.
Yeah, let's keep going. I can handle it.
Okay, so conditions in the camp were getting worse. My mom got lost in thought for long periods of time. She'd be completely still for hours, days even. We realized she caught, well, now we call it time misperception disorder. It's when you lose your ability to tell how much time is passing. A minute can feel like an hour. A day can pass in 10 seconds.
Nowadays, we call that ADHD. How did it make her feel? How did she catch it? How did it make her feel?
What's so hard is the feeling of absolute loneliness. Normally, we're all at least roughly in the same flow of time. But with this disorder, you walk alone, truly. We heard about a traveling doctor who could cure these kinds of diseases. I decided to go find him. I found out his name was Dr. Fumio, and he traveled with his son Lucio. People talked about him like he was a god.
What happened when you found them?
I described my mom's condition to Dr. Fumio. He said there was no cure yet, but there was a village high in the mountains. He thought it was high enough he'd have a better chance at treatment. Lower places are more dangerous. Valleys are the worst. He invited me to join them in going to the village, but I wanted to go back and get my parents and bring them with me.
A village high in the mountains. That's here. That's Caro Village. Let's just ask what happened next. I don't know. That's not a question. Come on, Estelle.
I packed my things and got ready to leave the next morning. That night, my mom came to me in a dream. She was standing in a field of flowers. I'd grown since I last saw her. We were the same height. She pressed a finger hard into my palm. She taught me well. I knew the meaning of the gesture. I knew no matter what I did, I'd never see my parents again. In the morning, I told Dr. Fumio I would follow him to Caro Village. The next few weeks were very physically tiring, hiking, climbing. And when we found the village, building, planting, cleaning, Fumio brought sick people from all over the world, and they got better. The treatments worked. Everyone was healing. So why couldn't I? One day, we got word the war was over. We never found out how it ended. It was like peace just swept over the earth in a split second.
Changing of the season.
There was a party in the plaza to celebrate the end of the war, but I couldn't bring myself to go. Yes, it was over, but it had taken my home, my family. That night, as I was falling asleep, I felt the bed tilt and sway gently, as if it was being tossed on the waves of the ocean, as if I was back in my bedroom on the ship, as if I was back in my mother's arms, being rocked gently to sleep. I knew I was finally home, and nothing could hurt me.
Nighttime. Hold on. Are we going to be able to make a journal page out of that? I would like to do that. Because we saw Estelle writing in her journal.
I imagine coming upon a place as hidden and singular as my own village. Eventually, I found myself circling a valley, looking for a way in.
Uh-oh. Valleys. We just heard valleys are the most dangerous. No, hold on. I wanted to open my journal. The Elder. Okay. So I can't edit the page, but I do have it available to me. Her name is Franc Kyle, or Frankie Kyle. She was born in a ship part of the Watery Republics, pleasure boats with a radical political program. Her mom was a ship philosopher. She managed the meaning behind the symbols. The start of the war was the turning of seasons and the end of the Watery Republics. Her mom saw the meaning of things shift. Her dad saw the war as a process. Her mom caught the time perception sickness. They looked for a doctor, and that's how they found Dr. Fumi. Sorry. I'm hiccuping on nothing. How they found Dr. Fumio and Caro. So I'm a little worried about what Tieng Valley is going to be like, because, as the Elder just told us, high up places are safest and healthiest, and valleys, and I'm assuming especially ones promising such beauty, with this look of like cookie cutter Americana. I know we're not in a world with America, but this looks like a very like 1950s suburbs advertisement, you know? I'm sure its promises are not as good as they seem. So we'll explore Tieng Valley next time, or at least try to find our way into it. Until then, I have been Mars, and I will be back with more season A Letter to the Future.